Running, are we live? And it looks like it. Welcome. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the place online. We are online. We are live in person and online. How you doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Oh my goodness. Scary. The place online, New Year, same clever approach. Glad you're here. No new approach. It's going to be the same clever approach. We're still going to do things the way we do things. Doing things as in looking at the Word of God, doing things as in meeting and eating and talking and loving each other and praying into situations, good, bad, and indifferent. Just learning to pray more, to have more of a heart in that direction. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that it's interesting. Z and I actually talked about this the other day, and it's interesting where we landed last time before we took our break from the walking through Luke to do the Christmas services. We're back to Luke 6, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. And it's just the perfect little segue to what we talked about. So I'm pretty excited. I can tell you are too. No, dear? Okay. Yeah, she's excited. She's looking at, she's excited. She's looking at her phone. Oh, look, it's a horse jumping. Tonight's message, what measure do you use? Luke 6 continues. What measure do you use? I like this little picture. One of the most beautiful things we can do is to help one another or help another. Kindness doesn't cost a thing. And I thought this would get to you guys because it's dogs. And I know you're all a bunch of weird dog people. I love y'all, but you're all weird dog people. Oh, I do. So that's just the way it is. I mean, you're all dog people. Do you have a dog, Jen? She has? No, okay. No, I know the rest of you all have dogs. Half of them are related, aren't they? Aren't they like all from the same? They're all from the same litter, right? Yeah. All right. So when things don't go your way, by the way, Happy New Year. When things don't go your way, how do you react? How do you react? When things aren't right, what do you do? They're not going your way, how do you react? Things aren't right, what do you do? When people are mean or nasty, what is your response? When you get something you don't deserve, good or bad, how do you react to that? When you receive something you don't deserve, and I'll throw in the good, because sometimes we receive things we don't deserve. Sometimes they're bad. We're all a work in progress, regress, or idleness. Which do you choose for yourself? I always hear it in the church. People say, well, I'm a work in progress. But are you progressing? Are you regressing, or are you just idle? The engine's running, but you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. Nothing's changing. Same old thing every day. It's just, there's nothing. You're not spending more time with the Lord. You're not seeing improvement in your life. You're not impacting. You're idling. We're a work in progress if we're progressing. Otherwise, we're regressing or we're idling. When it comes to judging, consider this. Judge nothing, you'll be happy. Forgive everything, you'll be happier. I like that statement. I like what it says. Judge nothing and you'll be happy. Isn't that true? You want to get upset? Start judging something. That's not right. That's judging, right? Shouldn't have done that. You're not happy when you're saying that. Those are like angry things, angry thoughts, upsetting things. We all do it. I do it. You do it. But you won't be happy. If you judge nothing, you'll be happy. And when you forgive everything, you'll be even happier. Because then that way, nothing sticks. Often God will allow us to experience some of what he experiences. Sometimes we want for him to judge the wrongdoer. But when we're wrong, we want forgiveness. Funny how that works. Easy to judge the wrongdoer, except if I'm the one doing wrong, then I want you to forgive me. Lord, forgive me, but get them. Why are we like that? What is intrinsically wrong with our way of thinking? What is wrong in there? Well, simple. We forget Jesus' teaching. That's why. We just forget it. We don't apply it. We're not thinking about it. Let me remind us all tonight of one of the most powerful teachings he made, clear and concise. There's no doubt about what he means here. This is very clear. It's very concise. It's simple. Do not judge. You will not be judged. Do not condemn. You will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Very clear. Very clear what he's saying here. If we place others on trial, if we condemn them, if we withhold forgiveness, and if we lack generosity, what are we telling God? We are telling God we demand strict justice. That's exactly what you're saying. That is the law. Old Testament law. Strict justice. You don't forgive. You don't do any of it. You condemn. Guess what? He'll respond. Are you ready for what lies ahead? But if we extend mercy and generosity to others, indeed, not just in word, you're actually doing it, we are telling God we wish for these to be used for us as well. This is the way we choose to live. Jesus is very clear here, and are you listening? I've been thinking about this for a couple days. The measure I use. Man, I want to use the right measure. I want to learn to be a forgiver and non-condemner. I want to be an individual who understands better. When something goes wrong, here's an interesting topic. Let's say you go and get a haircut, right? Oh, we're all so worried about our hair. I don't worry so much about mine anymore because it just keeps falling out. So I was commenting to my wife today, I can't believe how dark this stuff is. You know? You're so full of beans, man. I would know. No, I don't. I don't even comb it. Come on. If I dyed my hair, why wouldn't I dye my beard? No, it's just weird. I was looking at it going, man, my hair is darker than it was when I was 20 years ago. I had more blonde hair than it's just this dark hair. But anyhow, here's the point. Here's the point. Here's the point I was getting at before my wife threw me under the bus. We're so concerned. Oh, we will just get inflamed if our hair isn't cut just right. And if I'll never go back to that person. But then we overeat, we don't exercise, we condemn, we judge, but we hold our hair in such high esteem. And we're so upset when somebody screws. Don't worry about it. I'm serious here. Don't worry about what your hair looks like. It doesn't matter. You are loved from what's inside of you, not the way you look. The vanity of childhood needs to die with us older folk. It really does. Sure, you want to look nice. I'm not saying that. But don't destroy a relationship, a budding relationship. I mean, who do you talk to more garbage to than your hairstylist, right? You're sitting in there for a half an hour. Well, me, it's a half an hour. You guys might be in there longer. And you're just, talking nonsense, right? And hearing this, and it's just a weird venue. But you're able to, but you're engaging, you're enjoying. Then you go, I can't believe they did that to my hair. It'll grow back or it'll fall out. It doesn't matter. But don't judge. Don't judge the person because they made a mistake. Maybe it's your head. Maybe your head's cockeyed. You ever think about that? Your hair is straight, it's your head. No, we destroy things because we pick apart the tiny little minutiae, the little things.
Sometimes there are big minutiae.
They can be.
That are hard. I mean, I love people that can easily forgive everyone and anything. For some of us, it's harder.
I understand. Well, it's hard for all of us. It's very hard for us to do that.
Above and beyond here.
See, and now he'll conclude this thought with a parable. I love how he now opens up with what he's saying for interpretation, because that's what a parable is, right? Now we get to interpret what is God really saying with here. In other words, he gives us room to justify our behaviors. Have you ever looked at that? Have you ever looked at a parable and you're looking for the out? I'm acting this way because, it's there in the parable. Don't ever forget this truth he just spoke. No one can get around it. You will receive from God what you give to others. Period. That's what happens. You receive what you get. And if you give abundantly, what happens is if you give abundantly, your heart is full, and your heart is full from God. God is the one who brings satisfaction into your inner being, when you do things for others, when you love others, when you care more about them than if they screwed up your hair or if they put a tiny little dent in your car. And I mean, it's a big deal. I get it. I had somebody hit my car and left a note. No big deal. What am I going to do? Go chase them down? It was just a little thing. Most of it is buffed off, and I just put a little more effort. I don't care. It was nice that they were cared about, but you can get all worked up, right? Then you're dealing with insurance companies and this person and emotions. Yeah. In the big scheme of things, it's a really small scheme. When we hold people to an accountability that's ridiculous. Now look at this parable that Jesus follows this up. Same breath. He hasn't left. He's not going somewhere else. He says, do not judge. The measure you use will be measured against you. He also told them this parable. Can the blind lead the blind? Will not they both fall into the pit? The student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like their teacher. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your neighbor's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye, when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Such an incredible follow-up to what he just said. Now, you could look at it and say, see, they have stuff in their eyes. They have specks. They're not perfect either. Blah, blah, blah. And justify why I got mad at that person. Their speck upset me. But Jesus is reminding us, their speck isn't even the issue. Speck in the eye, plank in yours. It's hypocrisy to seek to help others with regard to ethical minutia when failing to attend to the central demands of discipleship. We're easy to judge, but the very essence of discipleship is don't judge. How can I take that speck out of your eye when I'm judging what you're doing, when I'm not even being a disciple there? I'm being outside of discipleship. You know what happens when you're a disciple? Somebody come up to you and go, "Can you help me with this? I got this thing in my eye." You know I'm speaking. Yeah, thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Metaphorically. But they'll come up to you and say, "Hey, can you help me? I'm really suffering here. I need help." Maybe there'll come a time where there's nowhere else to turn. You pick up the phone and call me. Or have your son call me. Or have your daughter call me. And maybe I can help. And maybe I can't. Depending on what the situation is and how God's moving on my heart in the situation. Sometimes the answer is yes, I can do that. Other times it's like, no, I can't do that. But why don't we get together? Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. Maybe, we can put together something. Not judging, trying to help. So, for failing to attend to the central demands of discipleship, like placing others on trial or condemning them, withholding forgiveness and lacking generosity. See, those are all the basics, and there's more, but those are the basics of discipleship. And this is what he's saying here. Tend to where you need to tend to. And I truly believe what he's saying is, once that speck or that plank gets out of your eye, once you really start to understand who you are in him and growing in him, those little speck people will show up and ask for help. And then you look at it like it's a speck and not like a log. "Oh, you're bringing me your burdens. What am I going to do with that? Right? You're overreacting. But what happens is when we get our heart in tune with God, understanding better who I am. Oh, Lord, let me be generous. Oh, Lord, help me with this condemning garbage in the heart. A lifetime of learning how to condemn does not go away because I want it to. It takes time. It takes time with him. It takes time in his word. It takes time in prayer. It takes time with good friends, good fellowship. It takes time and desire, but it takes time. Our bad habits, we worked on them for a long time. So how do we get into the deeper measure? What is a practical step for us as we launch into the new year? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let me help you with a thought that I have. This is something Z and I talked about. So you know it's good. If Z's on page with this, you know it's good, right? I mean, really. Z's got a great heart. Though she did make me put up a motion light in the rain. I mean, she has a good heart toward you, toward me. I had to put, I'm out there standing and water's rushing off the roof. And I could have got electrocuted. Oh, yeah, with a solar light. No, in all fairness, she said, you can come back. And it's like, what do you mean I can come back another day? My time's not worth nothing? You think I can just show up all the time? My goodness. I mean, it went from bad to worse. No, so anyway, we talked a little bit about this. How do you remove the plank? How do you remove the plank? See, that's what God's calling us to do, remove the plank. He's calling the people who are watching to remove your plank. This is all he cares about. He doesn't care about the other people. He cares about your plank. And as a disciple of Jesus, he wants to help you remove your plank. And what's interesting about this isn't like, okay, if I do this for 4 minutes, I'm good. No, it's a lifestyle altering change that is so easy to do. Doesn't require any heavy lifting. It requires desire. Commitment's a good word, I know. Boy, Southern California people do not like commitment. They just do not like that word. That's the C word. But you know what? When you're walking with the Lord, when you want to be a disciple of Jesus, you got to commit. It's not a punishment. It's a privilege. So tonight we're going to go offline and do this. That way it can be more, personal for us. And I encourage people at home to do this as well. I want us to go into a time of prayer. Praying for others, especially those whom are you're holding a grudge with. One of the biggest things that gets us off track is holding a grudge. Oh, I've given up on them. That's a grudge. That's a full-blown grudge that's just gone into an awful place. Oh my gosh, that's a grudge on steroids. That's a grudge out of control. That's a grudge on the highway to hell. That's awful. Giving up on people. I know I've done it. It's an awful thing. Haunts you. So we want to pray tonight. We want to take a little time praying. We want to pray. Let's see, who do we place in judgment in our lives? Who are we judging? Who are we quick to snap a judgment to? Man, we need to pray for them. We need to get our heart changed. We need to get this plank in our life, out of our life. So those who we can see have some issues in their life, instead of holding them in judgment, we hold them up in prayer. It's going to rain. That was my little indicator on my phone. The rain's coming. Another thing to consider is who we're not generous towards. There are people types we're not generous towards, aren't there? We're just angry with. Get a job. Be nice. You know, there's just all kinds of things that are planks in our lives. So tonight we're going to sign off, and I want us to come together, and I want us to be a little open with each other, and I want everybody to pray. You know somebody you need to pray for. You know somebody you need to pray for. We'll give you a couple of people that have been brought up to us today. I have two. I don't know if anybody else has anybody, but I also want you to pray for that plank in your life, the one that's in, and not just quietly. Speak it out. Let the devil know. You know what? I'm desiring to pray for this person. I want this feeling in my heart to change. I want to make more room in my heart this year with Jesus. And that's the only way I can do it, is to let down my guard. Be vulnerable. The silence is deafening. So we're going to tune off. Thank you for tuning in. I encourage you, take some time. We're going to have communion later. Take some time. Pray for the individual or individuals who you have an ought with right now, who are bothering you. Maybe it's family or friends or a boss or somebody, past associate. Pray for them. Pray that God would change your heart toward them. Then have a time of communion with Him. So pray and then have some communion. Start this new year the way God wants you to do. The measure you use will be measured back to you. May 2023 be the start of an incredible measurement. We'll see you next time.